Hi everybody, Dacob here. Welcome back to the Fragrant Bunker. Today we're going to talk about the top 5 perfumes for the month of July. Already half a year is gone. We're moving into the second half of 2023, and with it, there's a selection for the summer heat, July. Now, July is an interesting month because it can be extremely hot, but it can also sometimes be relatively chill. I don't want to say cold, at least not in the northern hemisphere, but it has its moments, but it can be steamy, cloying hot as well. So to combat that, there are two particular perfumes I like very much. Now, the first one is for the biggest heat when you're wearing shorts or a short skirt. And by the way, perfumes know no gender in my book. So wear what smells good to you on you. Because I know people often ask me, oh, Dacob, you're showing this perfume, but is it for boys or for girls? And I'm like, it doesn't matter, boo-boo. Wear what you love, what smells good to you on you. But in the biggest heat, when it's super steaming hot outside, I adore. When I have shorts on, or if you have a skirt, something short on that your knees are bare. Coco would not approve, but hey. Behind the knee, I spray this little transparent beauty. I'm using a green screen here, so if I tilt it, no, it's always very green. Look, it mimics, so it's disappearing, it's gone. This is, there you go, now it's green. This is Eden by Cacharel, the eau de parfum. Even in its current reformulated version, I adore this to bits. It is a 90s synthetic concoction with patchouli and tuberose, but listen, I'm going to spray it right now because it's super hot now and I have shorts on. I'm going to spray it behind my knee for the video. Oh my gosh, adorable. This thing is very intense. You don't want to spray it on your neck in summer. It's going to suffocate you, just to be very clear. But when you spray it behind the knee on the pulse point, and as you're walking, you're going to get wafts of it, but the perfume is going to be distant enough from your nose for it to be able to, the molecules will blossom as they kind of come to your nose, and by the time they hit your nose, they're going to smell incredible. This perfume needs distance to smell really good, and especially it needs heat. A lot of people are scared to wear this in summer because it's so intense, but in reality, it's really the heat outside that pops these molecules and makes whatever flower is in here bloom. If you wear it in winter, it tends to go a little bit metallic. But in summer, it is a joy to smell. It is just an overwhelming, happy floral accord that just keeps surprising you. It's mysterious enough to be, yeah, just like in this green screen, it kind of disappears. It's invisible, but also visible. And it tickles your fantasy and your fancy because the flowers in here and the fruits in here are ripe to the point where they're almost overripe and they're just about to start fermenting and they're just about to go off, but they never do. They're always borderline and they're so intense and magnificently opulent that it just makes you so happy to be alive in summer when you're wearing this. I adore Eden by Cacharel. Adore it. Morning, evening, whenever. The whole day in the heat. This works perfect. Now, if you don't want something so overpowering in the summer heat, then I love to start the day with my number 2 for summer. By the way, subscribe to my channel and thumb up this video if you're enjoying it. I am filming in front of a live audience, a live stream several times a week on my main superdacob channel. So come join the chats. And for my co-chatters who are watching me right now, let's see if you manage to guess which ones are on this list. But my number 2 is gorgeous early in the morning. However, I would not recommend this on an empty stomach because when I'm hungry and I spray this, my stomach kind of shuts down. You know, certain perfumes are not to be really worn when you're hungry. Other perfumes that are a little bit more gourmand and sweet and vanilla heavy, you can kind of wear those even when you're a little bit hungry. But citrusy fragrances, bergamot and citrusy fragrances are not to be worn when you're hungry. They just make you feel all crampy. So this one is gorgeous in summer, but always on a full stomach. And that would be Chanel's Pour Monsieur or Pour Messieurs Eau de Toilette. I adore it. This is a Chypre from 1955. Henri Robert is the nose behind this one. The Eau de Parfum is a Fougère, so I'm not talking about the Eau de Parfum, and it came out later on in the 80s, actually. Well, it was called Eau de Toilette Concentrée, and then it was reformulated into an Eau de Parfum later on by Olivier Polge, but we digress. We're not talking about the EDP, we're talking about the EDT. Now, this little beauty is so majestic. There is labdanum in there as well. Of course, there is oak moss, there is ginger, a lot of Sicilian bergamot, and spices. And then when this thing opens up, it's very bergamoty and citrusy and very cologne-like. But then as it dries down, it turns resinousy, labdanum-y, spicy, woodsy, warm. It's just so divine. It keeps you smelling fresh and clean throughout summer. This is a resprayer. Okay, it's not going to last you the whole day. This is just a couple of hours. So take a bottle with you and kind of reapply throughout the day. I adore it. Beautiful in summer. Elegated. I wanted to say elevated and elegant. So we coined a new word, elegated. It's very elegated, darling. It has a gorgeous heft to it that it has a depth to it. It's just really, really divine. It's been reformulated, of course. It's not anymore what it used to be in the 50s and in the 60s. Chanel is not allowed to use all the oak moss that it was allowed to use back in the day. So there's a little bit less oak moss, but they still list oak moss extract on the packaging of this one, albeit small percentage probably of it, but they're still using as much as they're allowed to use of real oak moss in here. And it is a beauty of a perfume, even in its current reformulated state. Number 3 is another one of the loves of my life. And I've been overusing it on my birthday and going into July. It's also, my birthday is on the 30th of June, but you know, kind of floating into July. It's also a masterpiece, and I love it in summer because of all the cyclamens in it. One of my favorite flowers, actually my favorite flower, wild cyclamens. That would be Moschino's olive oil shaped bottle. That would be cheap and chic. And yes, even in its current formulation, I adore it. Although, of course, if you can hunt down the 90s version, because this came out in 1995. Pierre Dinan designed the bottle, the same guy who designed Opium and Dolce & Gabbana Pour Homme. Love it. This one also originally had oak moss in it, believe it or not. Now, not anymore. Euroitalia is the manufacturer of this one. Doesn't really have the oak moss in it anymore, but it has some substitute for it. But the violets are gorgeous in here. Cyclamen is gorgeous. The yuzu fruit that opens up this perfume is so zesty, punches you a little bit. It's so cute. It's like literally stubborn, like olive oil, you know, kind of pecks at you a little bit, goes like, and then like goes away again, and then becomes more soft and sweet and ambery, musky later on. It's synthetic, but it is beautiful. And nowadays, kind of a cheapie. You can get it for a really good price if you're a little bit patient. And the design of this bottle is a masterpiece. This is Olive Oil's Chignon. A lot of people think this is a nose. No, it's not a nose. This is supposed to resemble the back of her head as she's kind of walking away from you. So that's my number 3. Also not to be worn on an empty stomach. This is best after breakfast or after lunch. And to take with you on the road and freshen up. This one doesn't last a long time in its current reformulated state. Very short-lived, unfortunately, on the skin. It's lost a little bit of its character as what it used to have in the past. I still adore it. I still love it. I always will. I love my olive oil Cheap and Chic by Moschino. Great in summer. Such gorgeous, dreamy vibes. And it also makes you feel fresh and happy. Whimsical, playful, flirtatious. Adore it. The next one is quite rare, but it also falls in the cheapy category nowadays. And I have my moments with this one when I completely ignore it. And then every now and then, I become re-obsessed with it. And when I do, I just sniff it all the day. I don't know why. Right now, it's one of those obsession phases of this perfume for me. And this one is a lychee heavy fragrance. Great in summer, but has a lot of heft. And that would be from the Giorgio Beverly Hills family, but not Giorgio. Instead, it's red. Little rhyme. Instead, it's red. We got Red by Giorgio Beverly Hills. It's supposed to smell like the color red, released in the late 80s. Now, Giorgio was released in 1981. This one was released, I believe, 1988 or 1987. Adore red. An interesting type of chypre vibe going on in here. Also, you know, heavy on the oak moss. Red by Giorgio. This thing is so beautiful, especially if you manage. This is a reformulated version by Procter & Gamble. But if you manage to hunt down the OG, Red by Giorgio Beverly Hills, it comes in a different bottle, slightly different bottle. Man, I actually have samples of the OG from the 80s. A miracle of a perfume. Red is the right name for it. It smells the way you would think the color red would smell. It's so elegant, so beautiful. Intense in just the right way. It's kind of fruity, but powdery, ambery, but also green while being red. It's really, really very, very, very interesting late 80s fragrance. And in summer, again, it's because of the heat. It blossoms in a very interesting way. You know, some days when it's a little bit more humid outside, you're going to get more the fruity lychee accord. But then if it's more dry, hot outside, you're going to get more the floral accord. You're going to get those jasmine-y notes popping with the rose. It's really, really interesting. And of course, it has that kind of civety vibe going for it, ambery, musky vibe going for it. It's quite a heavy hitter. It's one of those powerhouses from the 80s with shoulder pads and all. Definitely when you're feeling your oats, this is the perfume you're going to wear on the town. And also this one fades very beautifully into the early evening and into the night. Also a great date perfume for summer, going to the movies or going to dinner or even going to a club, because this one is strong enough to push its way through the club. And last but not least, well, this one is not a cheapie, but it is a masterpiece. It is one of the best floral bouquets ever composed, really. It's from the early 1900s. It was also worn by a princess on her wedding, allegedly. And it is Quelques Fleurs by Houbigant. Quelques Fleurs by Houbigant. This is the L'Original Eau de Parfum concentration. Is said to have been worn by Lady Diana on her wedding day. And then she spilled apparently the bottle all over her dress. And they say the dress still smells of Quelques Fleurs. I don't believe it still smells of Quelques Fleurs, but you never know. But Quelques Fleurs is the most ambrosial floral bouquet I have ever smelled in my life. It is pulpy and ambrosial like a banana would be, but filled with white florals. It is majestic. It is a full, fleshy, ambrosial bouquet. It's not just a dry floral bouquet, but it has intention. It has body. It has all the nectar still attached to all the flowers. It is dewy. The bees are all rushing to get it because they want to produce honey out of this nectar. This is an EDP. This is an eau de parfum. Beautiful. I do believe there's also an extrait of Quelques Fleurs l'Original, but then there's also a new formula that's called Quelques Fleurs Royal, but this is the closest to the original. That's why they call it l'original. So I would recommend this one. And so this is to be worn when the sun is at its peak during the daytime in summer, right? Best is if you can pull this one off in the countryside. Oh my gosh. A field of flowers or lavender fields or fields of grass growing somewhere with a slight breeze of wind blowing. The sun is pecking at you from the top and you're just kind of full with this gorgeous ambrosial perfume and you're walking through nature. I mean, it's just so dreamy. So dreamy. I mean, a lot of people, because of Lady Diana, also before Lady Diana, would wear this to their wedding. You know, they say this is a wedding day type of perfume. It's a special occasion type of perfume. But I think to myself, you know, living is a special occasion. Might as well wear it every day because it is that beautiful. It just is. Treat yourself, I say, with a gorgeous smell. And this one, so beautiful. Honeyed ambrosial heaven in a bottle. If you love your florals and you love your florals in the heat, this is a summer winner for me because it has the heft. It lasts you for many, many hours, but it never becomes overtly, you know, cloying, too sweet, too heavy, too green, too white. No, it kind of just stays right in the middle. It gives you a little bit of everything, but it keeps giving. It's a rich, rich bouquet of flowers in summer. Divine, and especially gorgeous to wear this at night. Right before you go to bed, you put it on and you kind of lull yourself to sleep, surrounded by these beautiful ambrosial flowers. Those are my top 5 perfumes for the month of July. I hope you've enjoyed the list. Let me know what your top 5 are down below. Thumb up the video and subscribe if you haven't already, but are enjoying this content. Until next time, never forget to never give up on love. See you soon. Bye. Mwah.